Hey folks, Greg here at the Joy of Aquascaping. I hope you're keeping well. Been a little while since the last vlog update. It's been kind of it's that time of year when things kind of happen slowly. It's just, you know, we've been trucking along all winter. Stuff is starting to come to life though. We've had a couple of absolutely gorgeous days. Starting to feel a bit colder, and I believe we're to get to really low, even sub-zero temperatures this week. So it's going to get crazy cold. But in the meantime, while we have an opportunity, let's do a vlog. And we'll take a look at all the ponds. Some of the footage is going to be from the last maybe 2-3 weeks since the last vlog that I done. We'll take a look at the koi pond, and then we'll move to the in-ground pond. We've seen a lot of growth and stuff on the in-ground pond, particularly around the pond. Fish have really been kind of springing to life in there. Those guys have been doing awesome. Take a look at the Axolotl Pond. I've actually whipped all the walls from around that were kind of boxing it in and put a new polycarbonate lid in it. That's working out a treat. And then the race pond, which is just trucking along. It's still doing its thing. It's like it's the eternal summer in there. So those guys are absolutely fine. But yeah, let's get us stuck in and take a look at the koi pond. Now, there isn't usually a pleco in the pond, so I gotta take that out before one of those fish has a go at it. That one's really prince. I'll show you that later. Yeah, because a little bit on the peckish side, not for how much, and not that white. I love that chipmunk. It's absolutely massive. Been doing absolutely brilliantly. There's just not a lot going on. It's still a bit too cold. We're gonna get tons of growth now in the wetlands bog filter. That's already happening. Dog's going bonkers here behind me. Hey buddy, what have you got? What have you got there, you old devil? Come here. Show me what you got. What have you got? How's your baby? Hey buddy, you alright? You just checking on everything? Come here. What's the story, bud? How are you? You having a bit of fun? You trying to get into that wetlands bog filter? My goodness, he loves that wetlands bog filter. But over keeping me company, doing all the weeding, getting rid of all the grass. 100% purebred, good boy. He does so much weeding. He's super handy to have around. He's a good old boy. He's a good old boy. Now the in-ground pond, like I was saying, that's where I've seen kind of probably most of the kind of life kind of starting to rear its face, because it's absolutely awesome. A lot of the plants that I have around there are kind of local plants, native plants, stuff that I've taken around different parts of the borders of the property. And chewing the cud, doing a big coughing. Cough it up, buddy. Cough it up. And they've all been springing to life because they're used. This is the environment from hence they came. So they're doing absolutely brilliantly. So we'll take a look at the in-ground pond. Let's talk a little bit about the single-tail Aranda hybrids, because those guys are still young fish, but I'm super excited about these guys. What are you doing with that pond liner? Give me that pond liner. Give me back that pond liner, the old devil. That was my best bit of pond liner and everything. Can't believe it. I can't believe it. Oh man, this Axolotl Pond has been... Yeah, been doing a bit of work on the Axolotl Pond over the last maybe 2-3 weeks, just getting everything really nice and clean after the winter, because I had a net over it, I had a lid over it for the best part, but it's amazing how many bits and pieces still blew in. We had just tons of leaves and I've taken them out a bunch of times, and then the leaves break down, but the stems off the leaves, they're just much more fibrous, and all of a sudden the whole bottom of this was just lined with just the stems off of all the big leaves from around, all oak leaf stems and stuff like that. Kind of created kind of natural botanicals in here to an extent, but they'd only end up breaking down to the point where they go pure mush and rotten, and you want those out of the system. So I've been just constantly doing like bits of maintenance and cleaning on this, but I've got in, I've done big vacuums on it recently, taken out a lot of the sand that was there, because that just got all kind of caught up and bound up with algae and bacteria and stuff, and good bacteria and bad bacteria that kind of resides deep underneath the sand and stuff. So we try not to have the sand too deep in this, but axolotl of their little paws, they're going in and they're just doing their own thing, you know. So you do what you can, but sometimes they make their own of this place, and they've been doing absolutely awesome. In fact, they've been doing so well. There's been breeding going on in here the last couple of days, which is super exciting. But the big thing for me was taking off the walls that were here behind me, because they kind of made the whole place feel like super boxed in, because that was the idea. They stopped the wind from just rushing through here. We've had tons of storms here the last couple of weeks. It's been a bit of a challenge just keeping everything locked down and making sure everything was 100% okay. Keeping everybody safe, basically, was the main thing. And so for the last couple of weeks, I've just been doing all the maintenance after the storms. I've been up on the roof, I've taped everything up, I've got everything locked back down, waterproofed off, basically behind where our camera is now at the moment. But I've got some polycarbonate sheets for the top of this, which are working out better. It's keeping a nice bit of insulation on the top of this. It's what I used on the pond setup previous to this, and yeah, basically stopping the wind from wicking across the top of this pond here, because as the wind, you know, heat rises, that's grand, but as the wind's pulling across it, it's just pulling heat away from it so fast. So you don't normally heat axolotl setups. Axolotl usually only like 16 to 18 degrees, but this is outdoors Ireland. We're going to be, I've heard reports that it could get -3 this weekend, so it's got to be cold. That wouldn't do for these guys. So I've got 3 little mini heaters in this pond to keep this at a steady 16 degrees. Toasty, but not too warm. Perfect temperatures. These guys have the best of both worlds. They have all the sunshine and all the space, and they have the outdoors, but they've also got the right temperatures, which is be difficult to achieve without. You wouldn't be able to achieve it in Ireland without the heaters anyway. So whereas you would normally have them, I do in this setup, and I have them hanging straight down and suspended, because if they touch off the pond liner, they'd melt it. And also, just because of the fact that I don't want them sitting on top of it and getting burnt, because they'd do that. Of course they would. So yeah, it's not like maybe goldfish and axolotl have little legs and they're super cute, but they'll walk around, they'll fall asleep on top of a heater, which will then turn on and roast them. So yeah, hanging straight down eliminates that problem, because they sink. They can't just hit off it mid-water column. So they do absolutely brilliant. Let's take a look at this pond now, and we'll see how all the axolotl are getting on. And we'll take a little bit of footage of these guys, eggs all over the place. Just super excited about that. It's awesome. Right, so these 2 pieces are literally just kind of left over from the old setup. These were the old lid off the pond. I'm going to put these to the side and get these out of the way. Oh, goodness. Tell you what, all this work the last couple of weeks, my back is. But so basically, it's the polycarbonate sheets that we had around the pond originally, and they were what I used to make the greenhouse around the pond, and they just keep the heat in, and you can tell they're working good, because you see that rain coming off the bottom. That's the water that's evaporated off the pond, and it means that it's keeping the heat in there, and it's double walled, so it's really good. Now let's jump in and take a look at these guys. Know that that's mom there with her little finger sticking out just there. How on earth? I bet you that was the bird. Sorry, Mom. One of the pellets for the other guys. I bet you that was the robin. Basically, this thing is completely covered in duckweed again. Now, I removed 90% of the duckweed out of this and I put it onto my other systems. There's still some out there because those guys aren't eating it. He's eating all the sticks. And these guys, who we'll jump onto now in a couple of minutes, basically the whole pond is completely covered in duckweed and it's gone. So I'll feed them some again here now. But if we can manage to get a bit of this to the side, we'll see if we can see any of these guys down here. They'll probably all scarper as soon as I start doing this, but there we go. And there are a couple of really nice big guys in here as well. Now there's a tail, and there are quite a few guys in here. Like 17. Now these are the heaters that are hanging straight down. Like I said, I won't take it out for long, but little small heaters, and they're just hanging straight down. We've got one here, we've got one here, and we've got one here, and we've got our 2 air sponge filters. And these guys are just doing awesome. Now I'm leaving the duckweed just cover the top of it for now, and that's absolutely fine, but I'll take most of it off during the summer and let the Elodea densa that's in there just kind of grow on like crazy. But in the meantime, the duckweed will grow in these light levels because it's at the surface, so it's grown really well. But the Elodea densa still won't grow really well until we get a little bit more sunlight in here. And we are getting a bit of sunlight through the trees, you know, we're getting some, but there just isn't enough sunlight in the day at the moment to really get the Elodea densa underneath it going. And it's just kind of, I find Elodea densa essentially just kind of hibernates at the bottom of a pond. Oh, there's a couple more guys. Awesome. So the great thing about this pond is being as insulated as it is and having the roof over it retains the heat really, really well, which is something obviously that we were going for, building a fancy goldfish pond outside, because I don't like the temperatures going below 13 degrees from a goldfish. Find some of them, particularly like Batman and a couple of the big ones, they don't react well to those low temperatures. Now, being crossed with a single tail goldfish has completely fixed that in most of them, which is great. But like the ones in the in-ground pond, but these guys, they're just not bred for that. They were selectively bred over the course of hundreds and thousands of years in some cases to be particularly fancy, but they weren't bred for hardiness. That's not what was people's mind. People didn't know about genetics, and you know, we're where we are, and these guys are super fancy, but they don't do cold weather. It gets colder, so it's really important to keep that heat in. So 100 mils of insulation, literally that thick insulation on the ground, on the walls, and then we've got this roof as well. 500 watt heater keeps this warm for the best part, and I have a 200 watt heater that kicks in if that one just isn't keeping it at 16 degrees, like during a water change, what I'm doing now at the moment. I'll show you that. My water change system here is really easy. Now, it's not as easy as my last pond where I just had an overflow system on it. Never installed that on this pond. Something that I kind of didn't need to, but I needed to have a constant water change system on the last pond because there were so many fish in only 1,200 litres of water. They needed to have constant sources of fresh water coming through and vitamins and minerals added, and that was tough. Like, this is way easier. So I'll give you a look at these guys. They're just doing so well. There's Batman and Monbert. How are you getting on? Batman's doing a little bit of bottom sitting at the moment. Well, he's not so much bottom sitting, he's just hanging around the bottom. I think he does it every couple of weeks. He eats loads and then he just poops loads on the one go. And for the day or two before it, he just kind of hangs around the bottom. I checked him, he's absolutely fine. Super excited about Batgirl here. She's starting to go a little bit panda like her mom and brassy like her dad. It's a really nice mixture. Absolutely love this. Hey Monbert, Queen of the Pond, doing absolutely super. There are actually 2 females in this setup that are still a little bit upside down. Actually, there's one of them that I had to hand strip eggs out of because during breeding, she struggled a lot to release her eggs. Spent about 45 minutes removing eggs from her and it still didn't get them all. But she's doing much, much better, thank goodness, because she would have ended up dying in toxic shock. We got our Pleco, 3D printed Pleco here. He's just screwed onto the... He's just, you know, making his way up into the wetlands bog filter. Water coming in the hose, if you haven't seen this system before. Water coming in the hose. Water going out the hose. That one there, it's just being pumped out. I do it at the same rate, that way we don't get like any drop in the water. Everything kind of stays nice and everything just stays nice. That's the big ranchu that I brought in from the koi pond. He was the only one that suffered a little bit in the cold. We just ate some of the sturgeon's food and I found them floating upside down, trying to just pass that food, because that'd be slightly higher protein. Not good for koi and goldfish to get stuck in their bellies. The sturgeon needs that though, down to about 4 degrees. So yeah, but he got in on the act, ate some of that, and he's a nice big fish. But he's kind of a bully to the females during breeding season, so I am being super cautious, keeping an eye on him. But a lot of these girls are able to take care of themselves, but you don't leave with the fate. Like you need to keep an eye on them during breeding season. That's super important. But yeah, we got our water change going on. Dechlor already in. We got fish swimming around eating any bits of algae that are growing on the walls. All the duckweed is gone, and so I'm going to give these guys... Actually, let's just give them a handful here now. This is one of my favourite things about having the ponds right beside each other. Is that, and this is so satisfying as well. Handfuls of duckweed. Because I had this pond completely covered in duckweed. And they ate it all. I mean, they ate it all quickly. 2-3 days. And the entire pond surface covered. Couldn't see into it for 2 or 3 days. Pretty much. And they emptied it. So yeah. So they'll get through that in no time. And they do. They devour it as they get bigger. That's something that you'll see in big goldfish an awful lot more. So that right, Mom Bear? She likes her greens. But these have been doing awesome. Let's take a look at the wetlands bog filter. I'm going to give you a look in here. If you haven't seen the cleanup crew, these guys are awesome. Oh, there's tons of these guys in here now at the moment. We've got isopods, leeches, snails, worms. They just go in and out of all of this system. They get any of the bits of goldfish waste and the heavy waste. Actually, there's some of the leeches. Those guys are cool. Yeah, there's all sorts of critters in here. And yeah, they get all the big pieces of waste. They break them down. And they make this whole system nice and clean and clear. There's no horrible trapped pockets of waste. And then all the surface becomes a surface for good bacteria to go around on. Which is absolutely awesome. Looks like I got a couple of copods in here as well. Copods and... yeah. Tons of life in here. And that takes care of a lot of the heavy waste, which is really good. Now, one of my favourite things about this wetlands bog filter system, and it is amazing, is the fact that it does such a good job of biological filtration. And I mean, it's second to none. It just does such an incredible job. You've got this absolute colossal amount of surface area for biological filtration. And it does mechanical filtration as well, really well, to a certain point. And that's where I want to make big changes on this pond this year. I think I'm going to drop the level of this pond down a bit because I'm not utilising the full depth of it. And I won't. I know I'd like to get it down a little bit, reduce in height, but I'd like to increase the mechanical filtration, fine particulate mechanical filtration in particular, because this is doing a great job of collecting any of the big heavy waste. You don't see big heavy dirty lumps of waste, and I don't see them on the bottom of the pond. I don't see them anywhere in this system. All the little guys that live in this system, they take care of the kind of bigger lumps of waste. So you'll never get like big clumps of dirt building up in here, big pockets of waste. Stuff that lives in here breaks that stuff down into smaller particles. The thing is, it's those small particles that reduce down the clarity in this system. And I like to be able to see all parts of the pond at all times because, one, it's great, really enjoy it. But from a more practical kind of standpoint, I like to be able to see everything that's going on with the fish, make sure everybody's okay, healthy. I've got big males, big females, lots of fish. You need to make sure that they're all okay. You can't do that if you can't see them. Now, what I'd like to do is get an inline canister filter, pressurized one, that I can pump the water through that, so that does most of the mechanical filtration in advance, and let this just take care of all of the biological filtration. It may even give me the option of reducing down the size of this, because this is quite a way above the pond as well, because it is full of stone. Works super well, but like that's the one element of it that I'd like to change. I think I'd actually like to introduce pressure canister filters, not only here but also in the koi pond and on the in-ground pond, to handle the mechanical filtration. It would increase the efficiency of these from a biological filtration standpoint, because remember, your biological filter, that good bacteria, that works most efficiently and most effectively when it's not covered in dirt and waste. It's breaking down, chemicals that are in the water. But if you just dump loads of heavy waste onto it, it's not going to be able to work as effectively. We're going to end up with really nasty problems. Hey, buddy, you alright? Oh, I'm going to give this boy a pet. Good boy. I'm back. But yeah, that's the one change that I'd like to make on this system, and I think that's what I'll be doing this summer. So that'll be this pond will probably go through the biggest change this summer. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. We're going to be doing some serious work on this pond.
So that's pretty much it, guys. That's how things have been going the last couple of weeks. Everybody's doing okay. Everything is good. We're just trucking along, just looking to get out the far side of winter. But it has been a nice little bit of respite here the last couple of days. You might be able to hear one bird in particular going absolutely crazy up there right now. That's Chrissy Robin. She's my local Robin, and she keeps me thoroughly entertained. Next 3D printing project I'm working on is actually a little phone holder that'll go onto the window like a little nest, and I'll be able to view her. Watch the space. I can't wait for that, because she's so fun. Almost had her on my hand the other day, which was super cool, but we'll get there. But she's awesome. But anyway, everything is going grand. I hope you guys are all keeping well. Thanks very much to everybody who's ordered plecos and stuff from the website already. Really appreciate it. It's just awesome. Thank you so much, and thanks if you've made it this far in the video. Thank you so much. I can't wait to get live streaming on YouTube. It's something that I do frequently on my TikTok, and I really enjoy it, but it's something I want to bring to YouTube, and can't do that till we hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that button, and we'll be doing live streams from around here pretty soon as well. And it's a fun little spot to live stream from, because you've got the couple of different ponds right beside each other. It's pretty good. That's it, guys. Gonna wrap things up. I hope you stay safe, take care of yourselves, have a good week, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye. What are you doing back there, buddy? There he is. He's a good boy.